Welcome. My name is Debbie and this is Pouring My Art Out for the Lord. And I had showed this flip-flop journal, envelope journal, a couple of weeks ago on my channel here. And I'll leave a link below if you want to check that out. But I had a viewer request by Darlene to show a little bit more about how to put the envelope structure together. So I'm happy to do that. I'll just show you just briefly again how this opens. So it opens like that, and that flips open like this, and this flips open like this, and this is all done with envelopes, envelope base. This one opens like that, and then on the back this one flips down and this one flips open like this and flips open like that. So I think I used 11 envelopes on this one. So I can't probably make it exactly the same because I'm using junk mail envelopes and I don't always have exactly the same envelopes. But I'm gonna try to get it kind of similar so you can see the process. So I just I start with a base envelope that mine is 9 by 12, which makes a really nice size journal because then it's 6 by 9 folded, and if you put in normal 8.5 by 11 journal pages folded, then it gives you a really nice size. This is US letter size, which I use. A4 size, I think it would still fit in there, and your envelopes like this are probably a little bit bigger as well. So so just pick a front, it doesn't really matter which one it is, and then go through your junk mail envelopes if you have junk mail envelopes, and I have lots, and the ones that work best for this, you can make it work without, but is with the flaps intact like this and unglued. They're just a little bit easier to work with, so I have several that are like that. I just kind of went through some of my envelopes, and I have a bunch of these little ones. There's that one, this one, a lot of them are a similar size. There's a little bit different one. This one. So lots and lots of envelopes. I have lots of them like this that are, I slit them this way or I slit them this way, but either way this flap is not attached, or it is attached, but it's not completely intact and it's not loose. So just makes it a little bit harder to do. So I'm going to use the ones with the flap that is, at least I'll start with that, and if I need some more envelopes, I can show you how to adapt the other ones. So the first thing that I did on my cover here, this was my base envelope right here. So I think the first thing I did was put a large envelope onto the base here. So like this. I don't have, this one would be a better size, but these ones are all attached. So I'm just going to make this one do. So as you can see, this one is a little bit bigger than a little bit taller than my base. So I'm going to have to trim that off. You actually could leave it. You could have a, you know, actually when I'm thinking about it, why don't I just leave it on? I can have a bigger envelope that's sticking up. That's okay. So let's just leave that intact. So the first thing I'm going to do is just glue this flap onto the base here. So I'm going to put some glue on my flap. Like that, and then I'm just going to glue that onto the back, and I'm going to let it stick up a little bit at the top. Probably shouldn't have glued the very top here, but oh, not too much. Okay. So now we have our base and we have one flap. So I think that is this flap here. like that. And then on the other side, I have a tall skinny envelope opening on the other side. So I'll just grab one of my tall skinny envelopes like this one, I think. See how that one fits. And that one fits well. It's actually a tiny bit taller again, but that's okay. So then what I want to do is I want to glue this flap underneath this envelope that is already a flap. And always just kind of, you know, try things and make sure everything flips open still. Make sure if you want some of the ends to stay open for little tucks or pockets or something, make sure you're not gluing things shut. But it's just really, you know, whatever you have, and a lot of just kind of trial and error. Push that against the edge really good so that that's tucked in really nicely. And there you have this envelope and this envelope flap. And then what I did also on the cover is I have this smaller envelope that does that. So I need a small envelope on this side. Okay, so I'll just take one of those smaller envelopes and I want to glue it on this side. So I'll open up the flap, tuck it in behind, and then you can decide if you want to line it up at the top, at the bottom, kind of in the middle. I think I'll do it on the middle. And then you can just kind of pinch it there, flip it open the flap, and put some glue on the flap. You could also moisten these those glue flaps if you want to just use that for a part of your glue. And then just make sure that's snugged up there pretty nice and flat. So now we have this on the front, and then we have the whole part of this front opens up like that. So I think that is the same basically as that, and then the whole thing opens up like that. And then this is I did do, I think this one is not going to do the same thing, but if you have your envelopes backwards, and I'll show you one on the other side, then you can have these secret tucks on the side here like this. So then you can put things that are actually in the envelope. So let's see on here. I have this one, but that one is not one of the large ones. I could use this for one of them. So just tuck that in there so I can use that for a bigger tuck, but I'll show you how to do the other ones too. So that's our front cover. Then let's do a back cover one here. Let's do one of those tucks. Do I want it on the back? On the inside? This is going to be too big. I think I'm first going to trim this one down a little bit. Just take off about an inch or so. About that much. That was an inch, so it's 8 inches wide, I think now. I mean, not 8, 5 3/4 inches wide now. So now I could put this one, tuck it in there. So then I have a flap coming off here, and then I have a tuck there. Or I could put it, fold it over like that, and then I could have a tuck here on the back. I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. So first of all, I'm just going to reseal this envelope where I cut it off. Because this one I'm going to keep as a pocket. And then I'll put it just where I want it. So I'm going to tuck it over. I folded this back, and I'm going to tuck it over the back flap. And then on this side, I'm going to put it on the inside here because I might want to still use this as a tuck as well. So I'm just going to put some glue on this envelope flap here. And then open this up and tuck this in like that. Making sure you get it nicely tucked in on the edge there. As you can see, I'm mixing up different envelope colors. Once you get everything covered and inked, it's not going to matter at all. Just make sure that's nice and snugged up. On my first one, I had some coffee dyed envelopes that I just already had. Like this was one that was coffee dyed, so I just left most of that plain. This one was coffee dyed, so I left that one. I think I had a couple more that were, this one was coffee dyed, so these ones I didn't cover completely on paper, this one as well. So if you want to coffee dye some of your envelopes, then you can leave the surfaces uncovered. Like this one here, I can also leave a little bit uncovered, and that brown will, or beige or whatever, will still come through. Okay, so now we have our front like that, and we open that up. Here's our base, and then on our back we have this so far. So then on the other one on the back, I think I did a flap on this side and then this one to tuck up, and I put a bit of Velcro here just to close up the back so that the back wasn't flapping open. So let me see how I want to do that. I could do that. This one, I don't know, I'm trying to think where I could put the Velcro dot if I did it this way. These are a little bit long to go that way as well. So I could just do it like that. You know, you can do these so many different ways. You can just keep going and going and going. I also have a little bigger one here that I could do. Where did I have this one? Was this one too big? That one actually might be good because that one is pretty much the same size. And I kind of like that idea. Or I could put it in here. And that will open like that. And then this will still be my, I want this maybe just right on the very back. So I'm just going to tuck that where I want it. Put some glue here. I think if you tried to make one of these exactly the same, unless you had, you know, a bunch of standard size envelopes, I think it would be pretty much impossible. Because this is just a junk mail project, and once you add everything to it, it looks really, really beautiful. So then I can use maybe one of these little ones here. Now I could put this one like this. Is that going to be too tight? Probably that's not a great idea because then that one's going to be right at the fold there. And I was going to put it here as kind of a closure. But then I need to trim off a tiny bit, which is okay. Let's trim a little bit off this one. And then it will fit nicely on here. And then this one I could just do, glue it onto here, and this would close, and then this would be kind of our fastener. Or I could put it here in between, but then it would not keep this part closed. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it here. So on this one, I'll glue this closed where I cut it first. And then I think I will do it like that. So you don't really have to glue on just the gummed edge on these envelopes, but that's just what I generally do. So this one, it doesn't tuck over anything, it just goes onto the page. So just center it or line it up with the bottom edge there. And then it's hanging on the edge like that. This can close, and then this can go up like that. And then we can have our little Velcro there if we want that still. So it's a little bit different than the other one, but it's still interesting. So then we have, so that's our front. All of this is our front. There's our front cover. And then all of this is our back. So then we can do something on the inside here. And we can either go off of the edge here. So if I want to take another one of these long skinny ones, does this one fit, or is it too big? Nope, this one actually does fit. So this one I can line up on the back here, so then I have something that I can open here. So I'll just get that nicely snugged up the way I want it and flip that over, keeping that snugged up. Flip open just the flap and glue that on. I'm not being too picky about gluing right close to the edge of these flaps because all of this is going to be covered with pattern paper afterwards, so you won't even see you won't see the flaps, but you know, if something is a little bit not, you know, like here, this will be glued, something else will be glued on top, so that doesn't matter at all. So now on the inside so far we have this. We could have something in the very center, which is what I did on my other one. What we could do is we could do a little bit of a waterfall sort of thing here. We could do even 3 like that. So probably I would want to glue this bottom one on first. So I'm just going to put glue on this side and put it really close to the fold, not quite on the fold. And you can just make sure that your book is going to close with no binding there, just to make sure that's in a good spot. So there's that one. Then if I do another one, I can line that up about halfway between the top edge and where this envelope starts. So this will be like our middle envelope. So again, really close to the fold, but not right on the fold. And I can just go like that. So I've got that one, and then I can do one more at the top. So put some glue there as well. So we did a totally different element on this one. And line that up at the top if you like. Press that on. I may have got some glue at the wrong spot on that one. No, I'm pretty good. So now we can use these as pockets on the back. I would put pattern paper on here. This is very thin envelope. Or we can just cover the whole thing and just make it a flap. And then we could put another pocket on top here. So many different ways you can do that. So I think the first one I did 11 pockets. So let's just see how many pockets we put on this one. So we've got 1, 2, 3 on the cover. 4 is our base here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we did actually exactly the same number of envelopes, but our flips are different. And once you get everything covered, you won't even be able to tell kind of where the envelope started and stopped, and you know, it's really neat to see how this develops. And just, you know, don't have a plan for this, just start working on it and see where it takes you. I think that's the beauty of the randomish. So I was going to show you, I'll just take this little journal out, and on the back page here, if I open this flap, which will be attached maybe with some Velcro, this one might be, no, I was going to say, yeah, I think it's going to be slightly too big. This one might fit. Is this one a little bit shorter? No, this one is not shorter. So if I was going to put a little journal in here, I'd have to make it just slightly smaller, because I had to glue this envelope because I cut it down. Otherwise it would have worked. Let's just see. Yeah, it's just going to be slightly too tall. So, but we can stick an envelope, a little journal in there. So there is our envelope base. And then when I cover it, this was just a couple of extra pages from the Scrimping Mummies Vintage Compendium Kit, which I absolutely love. That's what I used for a lot of this base as well. It's just a lot of neutral but very interesting pages, and they all kind of blend together, but they are interesting, and if you get them upside down, it doesn't matter because, you know, they're just twisted every which way. These are upside down already. So but I'll just show you how I do the covering the base of the envelopes. I'm not going to actually cut this one because I've already got this folded for a journal and printed double-sided, but so I would take probably one of my larger envelopes first, and I would look here, and I want to leave just a little bit of a border here, and I could glue this one here, and then I would need another strip here, so I could put a bit of lace there. I could put a different piece of paper there. I could line this up at the top, and then I could put a pocket down here, which I did on several in there, or I could use my paper this way. So if I wanted to use it this way, what I would do, without measuring every envelope, I would just line it up where I wanted it, leaving about 1/16 of an inch on the right side and the bottom, and I would just put a little pencil mark about 1/16 of an inch away from that side, and then 1/16 of an inch away from this yellow envelope underneath. And then I would just cut with my paper trimmer at those two edges, and I would glue that on. And then I would have a little bit left on this page, and maybe it wasn't enough for another big envelope, but maybe I have enough for a small envelope. So I would put it on a small envelope. Then maybe I just have a little strip there, and then what I might do is maybe it's enough just for a strip down here. So I would glue a strip down here, and in that way I would use every little bit of the paper. Some of the pages would end up being kind of a collage, and I did that in lots of these ones. And once you get your pockets and belly bands and all of these things on, you don't even know what you started with. That's kind of the beauty of it. So, you know, this was a solid piece. Lots of them were not solid pieces. See, it's kind of hard to tell once you've got everything on there. That was my secret hidden. This one, I had this piece, which was not quite big enough to fit over this whole envelope. So I put another piece underneath. So that one just goes up to about here. And then I put this on top, and I left it open, so then I have another little pocket or tuck there. So this was a coffee dyed envelope, so I didn't even cover that. I just used that on top. So yeah, so then just, you know, print out a bunch of interesting papers that you want to cover this with, and just start covering and covering and covering. And then when you're done that, then you can start thinking about where you want to put pockets. And I just had, you know, a pile of stuff on my desk, and I just put things where I wanted to put it. I did not have a plan, and that's what makes it randomish. So I hope that helped, Darlene. Thanks for watching my videos and trying my projects, and I hope this will inspire you to make one of your own. And if anyone else has comments on this video or another video that they would like to see me show something a little bit extra, I always have I struggle with the balance. Do I make the video completely every single step and then bore a bunch of people? Or do I skip a bunch of steps and then confuse a bunch of people? So I usually aim for a little shorter videos, but I'm always happy to show extra things if someone wants to see it. So don't be afraid to comment and ask questions or whatever. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and blessings. We'll see you in the next video.